If you've been set on the inventory docket in Tarrant County, here's what you need to know. During the pandemic, for about 15 to 18 months, very little activity took place in criminal courts. Although we had some virtual settings, some in-person settings, and even some trials, there was really no pressure on the prosecutors to try to resolve cases or come to the table with a reasonable offer, because they knew in most cases they were not going to be put to trial. As a result, the number of cases pending on the criminal court dockets went up exponentially. The courts have decided to set up an inventory docket. Now, this hasn't happened in over a decade. An inventory docket is an opportunity for every case that's either been on bond for over a year or been in custody for over 6 months to be brought to the court's attention. Now, those timeframes are for felony courts. They're going to be much shorter for misdemeanor courts. Every case that's been pending for a while is essentially going to get set for inventory. The judges have told prosecutors they are supposed to come to the table with their best and final offers. So, this is a unique opportunity that disrupts the normal course of case progress, and the attorneys have an opportunity to try to resolve cases. So there have been a number of cases that I've been able to resolve on inventory docket by representing to the prosecutor what our case was, the strengths of our case, without even giving them the actual evidence to support my position. So a lot of this is based on trust. The prosecutors are trying to resolve the cases that they can, but it is a mixed bag. We've had prosecutors who have literally not changed their offer in months and months and months and came to the inventory docket and extended the same offer. That's not what the judges are telling them to do, but that's what the prosecutors did. We've had other cases where the prosecutors did what they were supposed to do. They came to the table with a reasonable mindset, and we've been able to resolve cases sometimes more favorably than we would have in a non-pandemic world. So this is an opportunity if we have the right person across the table. We will tell you when we get to the inventory docket whether or not the prosecutor is being reasonable, how far our discussions leading up to the inventory docket have gotten us, and what we think a reasonable outcome is going to be. In other words, just because the prosecutor's been told to come to the table with their best and final offer, we will assess the offer independently and tell you if we think that's a good offer. If not, we're going to reject the offer, or at least recommend that you reject the offer. Once you do that, the judge is going to tell you that your case is being set on the trial docket, and that can be nerve-wracking for a number of reasons. Being placed on the trial docket often increases your financial commitment on the case. It raises your anxiety about what's coming up, and the judge is telling you that you could be in trial in a month or two. The reality is you're going to have a little bit more time than that, because as we have started this inventory docket, it has become apparent that many cases are not being resolved. So the courts will be left with a very large trial docket when this is all over, and there is still an order in which cases have to be tried. Folks that are in custody have to be tried first. There are some statutory reasons why other cases are prioritized. If you're out on bond and charged with a misdemeanor, even though you pass the inventory docket, and even though the judge is telling you you're going to the trial docket, it may be months, well into next year, before your case actually goes to trial. So rely on your attorney to tell you when you're going to trial. Understand what the judge is telling you. You are going on the trial docket, but the attorney generally knows, because of their communications with the prosecutor and because they can see a number of things that the prosecutor is doing to either prepare or not prepare for trial, whether or not your chances of trial are actually coming up quickly or it's going to be a while before you get to trial. If you have questions about the inventory docket or what to expect, be sure to talk to your attorney at that setting. It will be like most other settings in that you're going to show up and your most important role is to be there, but go in with an open mind that you may get an offer that's too good to pass up at that inventory setting, and if it's appropriate, you might want to resolve it that day. Alternatively, if your attorney advises you not to accept that offer, then go in with the courage to follow your attorney's advice and say, I understand it's going on the trial docket, but it's still worth it to me to fight for the things that I've always wanted, whether that's staying out of custody, avoiding a conviction, or setting yourself up to ultimately get the record, even the arrest record, either sealed or expunged.